Yo, 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 what is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of WINJECT Radio presented by WINJECT Studios. Happy Money Monday to everybody. Bank holiday here in the UK. I'm not even sure what the hell that is, but everything is shut down. Here in the UK. It's like I went to the pharmacy this morning to get an inhaler, right? And I was like, why is everybody at? It's like they don't open till 11 o'clock. It's bank holiday. And I was like, what the hell does that mean?
Wow.
It's all good. But I'm sitting here with my main man, Mr. Mark Jenkins. If you don't know who he is, Google. I'm going to keep saying that over and over. Just Google him. He's all over the damn place. He's got a new show coming out on WINJECT Studios called the Anabolic Mind. But today is a special edition of WINJECT Radio because we're going to talk about why you cannot afford to neglect your health in this day and time. And then I guess there's a compound effect when it comes into that. And there's so many different types of levels. But Mark, welcome to the show, my man.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it. I'm excited about the Anabolic Mind show coming out.
That's right.
Can't wait, man. Good to be here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun, man. Especially, that was one of the first covers that I got really excited about when I sent it over to you. And I was like, oh yeah, that's dope. That's dope. It's gonna really.
It's dope, man.
Yeah, it's really cool. Because I guess we can kind of get started with, going into a little bit more in a nutshell of your story. And then leading up to now, and obviously how you're, serving so many people out there, and you're one of the most sought out celebrity trainers out there. You get flown all over the damn place, I think that's pretty cool. One of my favorites, I think, from that was Mary J. I told you my story about Mary J. And I saw her in Atlanta. I was like, Mary J., what's up? I just kind of walked off like I was cool. She won't know. She won't remember that shit, but it's all good, man. But I guess we kind of kick it off. How did you get started into fitness? And then especially, with training so many celebrities.
I got started. I'll go quick.
Okay.
I got started in, 1992. I'm 51 years old.
You don't look a day over 35, man. You're good. You're good.
Working out, man. It keeps you.
That's right.
Keeps you young. It really works.
Mm-hmm.
It really works. And I started out. My dad died when I was 2. So my mom sent my sister in out of dancing school. So we did tap, jazz, ballet, modern, gymnastics till we found out that was dangerous to do in Brooklyn in the hood. So I stopped dancing. That was a risky endeavor in the 80s. Dancing back then. So I stopped
beatboxing. You get the cardboard and everything. Did you get the cardboard? Did you do the dances or the cardboard and stuff? Remember back in the days? I remember when I used to travel to New York. This is back in late 80s. And I would visit family up there and whatnot. And it was Brooklyn. So it was crazy. I was like, man, that's why, of course, I fell in love with, the old school rap, I guess we would call it for nowadays. But it was fun. There was a totally different dynamic from me coming from the South and going up north and that type of style. It was pretty cool. But yeah.
Yeah, man. No, I was just doing classical dance. Tap, jazz, ballet, modern.
Right.
On the bar, I thought I was in Fame. I was doing Fame. I was thinking I was trying out for Broadway shows. And then I had happened to mention it to some of the guys, and I started getting teased. I stopped dancing. Unbeknownst to me, that was the only thing keeping my weight off. My family's West Indian. I'm eating carbs, crazy. Mm-hmm. But I was burning it at that time. But within a year or two, I ended up having a 45-inch waist.
Whoa.
At 16, 17. And I was getting bullied. I was running home from school, trying to keep my sneakers on my feet. And I knew I wasn't going to make it. I said, man, I used to be in shape at 17. I was washed up, man. I said, man, so what am I gonna do? I went past a military recruiter. I said, you know what? I could join the military, get in shape. My mom didn't have any money. She sent my sister to Penn State to go to college. There was no money for me to go to school. I said, well, shit, I can go in the military, get some money for school, and get in shape at the same time. And then, the guy in the military said, the guy in the Navy said that the aircraft carriers had McDonald's, and I joined the Navy because
it's true.
I thought I could get McDonald's on the aircraft carrier, and there aren't any McDonald's on the aircraft carrier.
That's what they tell you that in the brochure. They'll tell you all kind of crazy shit to get you to enroll.
I was like, word, they got McDonald's? I'm joining the Navy. That's the best branch. How come the other ones don't have McDonald's? So I joined the Navy for the McDonald's, and I barely made it through boot camp. I couldn't do 10 push-ups. I had a 45-inch waist, but I didn't quit. It was last on every run. It was just me and this one other guy. We were last on every run, just getting screamed at the whole time. I got out. I lost a lot of weight, but I had these big man boobs and I was still out of shape. I walked up to a dude. I said, hey, man, I want to look like you. Can you show me how to work out? He showed me how to work out. 2 years later, I was 250 pounds. I had a buddy of mine who he was going to get kicked out the military because he was overweight.
Right.
I trained him. He got in such good shape. I became like the go-to guy to get people in shape in the Navy. I thought that was useless information. I finished the Gulf War, got out, got a job at the post office. They gave me too much mail because I was bigger than everybody else, but I was getting paid the same amount of money.
Right.
So it was size discrimination. I complained to my gym manager. He said, yo, Mark, I give you a job training people. I got certified. I started training people in this gym. And this gym happened to be right in the middle of Disney, ESPN, Motown Records, all these fucking corporations,
right?
Unbeknownst to me, were all in this one complex. And
that's
legit.
You would just start networking.
I started networking. I trained one lady. She happened to be Brandy's publicist. I got her in good shape. I was able to get Brandy for $70 an hour, and I thought I was going to be rich because I was getting $70. I said, yo, if I get 10 people at $70 an hour, that's $700 a day. Brandy got Moesha, the TV show. That was actually my first celebrity client.
Right.
So, it was Brandy. And but I guess she was 12, 13 at the time.
Right.
She got
this is back what 96. Was it like probably like what 90 when her album
94?
94, yeah. When she dropped her first album, I think I remember I seen her. I think it was 96, 95, 96. She went on tour with Boyz II Men.
Yeah. It was way back. That was my first celebrity client, and she went to California, started doing Moesha, and the idea got in my mind, and I wanted to be a lawyer. I was using my money to go to law school. I never had any intentions on using training, for anything occupation-wise. I just wanted to stay in shape myself because it was a life-changing experience. But I did that, and I said, man, if I get some celebrities, then I can make a living actually getting in shape. And so I targeted everybody who had nice suit or a nice pocketbook. I figured they had money. I offered to train them for free. And I just wanted one free lunch a week. And then the free lunch, I asked them, what did they do for a living? And they explained their gig to me, and I would take notes. And then I asked them, if you were a trainer and you were trying to get famous, how would you do it? And they would tell me how to do
really
it.
cool. Yeah, that's really good. Smart.
I would take the notes, I would take some notes down, and they would be like, yo, you got to get a publicist. I'd be like, okay, I train a publicist for free because I don't have any money. Then they would say, oh, well, you got to get pictures to get and I would train a photographer for free. So I was training so many people for free, I ended up moving into the projects. And I'm living in the Fort Greene project at this time, and I'm training people for free. But I knew I'd reach a tipping point. If I just get that one big break, everything would just exponentially blow up because I had the infrastructure already. So it took me from 1993 or 4 living in the projects until 2000, which was Mary J. Blige taking me out on the road, and D'Angelo. And they got me in, and that was really my breakthrough client was, I guess, D'Angelo for the Untitled video. Yeah,
and that was the biggest video of his life. Yeah.
And both of those checks got me out the projects. 8 years later.
Wow. Like looking back on it, do you regret anything?
Do I? No.
Not at all.
No.
That was smart the way that you did it, but you had it's like a principle of faith. Eventually it's going to work out. I just need one move, that tipping point, focal point, and then tips over. And next thing you know, it just takes off, which I think is amazing.
Yeah. Also, too, I was coming straight from the Gulf War. From living on the ship with 5,000 men. Not seeing any land. What I mean?
That does something. That conditioning, bro, does something to you, man. Because you don't apply your Navy too.
So when I came out, the rest of that was fairly easy, living in the projects and not having any money. And
you have this small little rack. I have a small little rack where you could climb up in that.
Comparatively, I still had a much better lifestyle than what I was used to.
Right. Even ramen noodles. You know what I mean? The cup. This is before the cup of noodles. You had to take it, get another thing. Obviously heat it up, man. It was ship life was crazy, bro. Like when I was in, it was crazy.
Real. People don't realize, man. It's real.
You got to ration out your stuff. I got smart, man. I had an entrepreneur spirit, bro. When I went on tour, or not a tour, I guess they call it tour, but not like a real tour. But went on deployment. I went and bought a bunch of stuff because the ship store is only open between a certain amount of time. I would have my own. Because I was in a Bosa lock. I was a Bosa mate, so I drove the ribs and stuff, the boats. Wow. So I was up front in the Bosa's locker selling stuff. I was selling liquor, which I probably shouldn't have done. They can't get me now. So selling liquor, cigarettes, dip. You know, of course, the people that from the South that dip. I was selling a bunch of stuff. I made a bunch of money. You know, I had my own little ship store. It was like
you already had the mindset, huh?
Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, I was an entrepreneur before I actually had a job. Before I was 14 years old, I took over a whole neighborhood and cutting grass. And then by the next month, I started raking leaves, and I had all these connections. And then all these other guys wanted to cut grass, and I bought a bunch of equipment, and there's my first business. I don't know what the hell I was doing going in the military.
What about your athletic background? What were you doing for sports?
Yeah, I was playing baseball. I played baseball, football, basketball, anything with a ball, pretty much, other than soccer.
I suck at baseball. I suck.
Really?
I suck at baseball.
Baseball was my thing, bro. I love baseball. That was my first. That was my first love. Box. Yeah, I didn't even know that about you.
I can never get it around, man. You know, but right now I'm trying to get into MMA right now. So I'm starting my.
Are you?
Get into my boxing at 51. I want to get a trophy by before I hit 55. So I'm trying to get in some type of combative competition.
Dude, just go talk some shit to Jake Paul, man. He'll take you on. That'd be a good payday.
Yo, this guy won, man. Pretty good. Kudos
I know. Yeah, well, he had those tall ropes, man. I think that Tyron would have knocked him through those ropes if it was normal.
Yeah, he did knock him through the ropes in that one shot.
Yeah, I was like, that rope's kind of like got him. But yeah, man. So like, obviously your show coming out, which I'm really honored to, be able to like tap you into the more of the podcasting type of game, and for people to consume your content, either audio or consuming it by video. There's a lot of different things that you're doing, especially with the people that you are accustomed to serve on that type of capacity and all these connections. I really believe that your show is really going to take off and do an amazing things, and they're going to hear it coming from a different type of way of not trying to sell something. It's just going to be dumping in content, which I think is amazing.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited about it. I'm excited about giving you guys the insights, because for me, the people that I have access to, I still can't believe it. You know what I mean?
Right.
I trained the 8th highest IQ person in the world. The 9th highest IQ. Interesting people like that. Or when I used to train Johnny Cochran when he was around. And there's a reason why these successful people implement health and wellness in their life. And I'm excited about getting that message out to you guys, and you guys getting their vibe, and then you taking that information and applying it to your life. That's why we're calling it Anabolic Mind. We're trying to get people thinking more in a holistic wellness capacity. Like, how can I have my wellness make me money? And there's nothing wrong with my wellness making me money, so I can support my wellness endeavors. It's supposed to be a 360 type of thing, because a lot of people are, they're working gigs where they're not really serving people. They might be exploitative gigs, so they're not feeling good about the money that they're making, or they're invoking some type of energy karmically.
It's true. That's a real thing. I mean? That's a real thing.
It's definitely a real thing. So we're trying to get into those areas. I'm trying to give you some celebrity insights and training tips, and also some real world science on how to approach your workouts and how to make them actually time efficient to get the most out of doing the least.
I've seen on your website, and obviously I know this about your story, but the listeners probably potentially don't. You're working with P. Diddy, and I think he went on that marathon, and you make an impact pretty quickly with individuals. I mean, how do you think that's possible on a psychological? Is it more of a neurological type of level, or is it both, as in with the nutrition side?
I try to vibe with the person.
Okay.
And then I think once I can understand how they're thinking, understand how Diddy was, like I knew that he wasn't really going to train hard unless he was challenged to do something.
Makes sense.
Then I had to come up with the challenge, and then I came up with the marathon, and he was like, that was a good idea. And then that was his first foray into MTV. So it's first of all getting a vibe with the person and seeing if you and the person can gel or mesh, especially with an artist, because they got to trust you a lot of time.
Yeah, 100%.
It's a lot of trust issues, and you don't have a lot of time to develop that type of relationship, because it's usually like a 60 days or 30 days to get the person ready for a Cannes Film Festival or what have you, or whatever gig. There's not a lot of time involved. So then the second thing is just to use the science. I think I was one of the first clients actually, in the 90s using blood analyzation.
Yeah.
For personal training. just to make sure that the person, and that's where the anabolic mind stuff comes in, because I'm giving you guys a lot of 30 years of insight of what I use to transform clients in the shortest amount of time, which built my career. So I'm just telling you, I'm giving you from the bird's eye view, like how I actually approach each client. So in between building the rapport so you can get the person to execute, and then actually having the science, so there's something that they're executing that's going to be effective, I'm able to get the transformation.
The interpersonal type of flow and getting in that rapport, people don't realize how difficult it is when this person, I guess you would say, is not detached away from society, but they're a celebrity, so they're always approached, right? So they're going to be a little bit more, I guess you would say, guarded in certain situations, especially if they're working with a trainer. That's a intimate relationship.
Well, not only that, there's an entourage around, there's security.
Yeah,
around.
there we go.
So you're not with the person one-on-one, especially when you just come into camp. You know what I mean? You're not even with the person one-on-one so it's tricky. It's tricky to do, but it can be done.
How do you go about handling that? I mean, do you normally just go after the person is, I guess you would say, manager in that type of case is in charge, or the PA, or, I mean, how do you kind of like, all right, guys, this is my world. This is your world. This is my world. Right? I mean, that's a hard thing for some people, to be able to have that type of conversation. And sometimes it doesn't need to happen, but it's more about intuitively they kind of can sense, this is my game. This is my game. This is my world. And then kind of like sheltering that piece off of that side of it so you can be effective.
If I get into let's say for example, I'm training Busta Rhymes, right? Which is actually a situation. So I'm in there with flip mode and we're all in the hotels or whatever. Right. And we're doing the whole thing. I got to get at least 2 or 3 of them on board so Busta can get in shape. Because they're going to be in the studio with him, eating around him. So I end up training maybe 2 or 3, and I might train Split for free. I might train 2 of the security or whatever.
Right.
So then we
That's
do
smart.
Group run together, so we're all working together and turn it into a unit. And then that's how you're able to bypass a lot of the other things. You actually have to get everybody involved. But usually, most of the people, most of these camps, because I'm usually always the outsider coming into the camp, everybody wants to get in shape, man. They usually bring it through. Interestingly enough, they're like, "Oh man, this is great, man. We were looking for something to do." I try to get just to build a camaraderie within the group. We do 1 group session a week.
I like that. Smart. It's a good angle. Yeah. I mean, because you get everybody on board to the overall mission, that then they're a part of it. Because once they're a part of it, and then they can end up, I guess you would say, motivating each other. So make your job a little bit easier. So
that's the thing, man. Like, especially employees, man, employers. It's important for you to allow your workers to have time to take care of their wellness, because they're going to perform better. This is what employers have to understand. Stop trying to keep your person slaves at the table working, just grinding it out, man, right now, And employees got to understand, you too, if you take out time for your wellness, you're going to make more money because you're going to perform
100%.
better, you're going to have better ideas, you're going to get more nutrients to your brain, you're going to make better decisions. So, both people have to understand, like, wellness is a benefit for everybody. Like, you can't achieve wellness unless your fellow man is well. And that's what people really don't understand, because then you don't have environmental wellness. You don't have occupational wellness, because you have to interact with people. So, your wellness, Chris, is just as important as mine for all of us to be well.
100%. I noticed when I had an injury, but you could potentially use that as a crutch and an excuse on why, you would potentially get out of shape, especially when you're coming from like a COVID type of world and trying to, I guess, quarantine. There's a lot of workouts you can do at home and obviously still be effective, if what you're doing. Like I said this to a friend of mine, even when people were forced to go back inside, the ones that put in the work at that time and really wanted it are going to benefit. I mean, and you can obviously make more money that way too, because you'll start looking at other angles. And then, I love that you said that about the nutrients and obviously the chemicals in the brain, because it's important. When you start looking good, you'll play good, you'll work better, and you start making more money.
Yeah, you're giving yourself a longer time functioning at optimal. You're giving yourself a longer run. You're adding years to your game of functioning on the same level that you wouldn't have if you weren't taking care of yourself. So you're doubling, tripling your chances of being successful. So for entrepreneurs, I was living in the projects all of that time from 1993 to 2000, and I didn't get sick. I didn't have a health issue, because I was eating right and taking my vitamins. Although I didn't have any money, I was living in the projects. I was still prioritizing my health. So, I was able
that comes from the military, man. We're like hermits. We're like hermits.
Yeah.
We conserve stuff and ration our stuff out.
So, you gotta put your health first so you can make it, man. It's important. You need your body. Your body is the vessel that you're working through.
Well, that's what a lot of people don't realize, that especially even when they're looking at nutrients and food, they need to get what their body's going to need to nourish itself and obviously heal itself by itself. There's
so many reasons that to train and work out, and another one is just for the social wellness, the social benefits. When you walk into a meeting and you're in shape, like I used to train Johnny Cochran. He used to tell me, he liked to work out before he went into court because he felt like he can impose his will. He felt, more powerful.
He had a good presence too. He had a good presence.
Yeah, and he wasn't an athlete. This was a business. This was a lawyer.
If it don't fit, must have quit. Still remember that line.
He's still benefiting from the training and the discipline, the setting goals and overcoming them, seeing the tangible changes. That's empowering for people to take steps in the other areas and make changes.
Right, and it also will motivate your own staff. If the leader is like operating at an optimal level, like you mentioned, everyone else is going to follow suit because you're setting the standard. Like, this is how we operate. This is where we go. So if you're putting in that extra time, people don't understand, because it's just like anything else, bro. If you don't put in that time, one day turns into 30, and the next thing you know, 2 years down the road, you're not sweating every day.
Yeah, I mean, the average American is gaining 5 pounds a year.
Really?
And that was before the pandemic.
Wow. I'd be interested in knowing what that number is now.
The stat now, I couldn't tell you, but the average. So you're gaining weight. Probably UK is probably the same. They were running neck and neck.
Right. Well, there's one thing I have noticed. One thing I have noticed about the UK, that even since I've been here, it's been for almost be 5 years. Actually, it's been past 5 years now. It's in August was 5 years. One thing I have noticed, that I'm not sure if it's just a trade or whatnot going on, maybe how they left Brexit or whatnot in the EU, that I'm seeing a lot more American type of style restaurants that were obviously in America coming over. That's going to bring it up, because even the portion sizes, I don't drink, but people here will get more liquor here or more alcohol consumption, but then not really having small portions. But now you're starting to see a big shift where a lot of American type of portions, they're getting bigger portions of food. You see what I'm saying? So and that makes it really difficult for someone that you're setting up for losers. Then you have this one app, it's called, which I deleted that app a long time ago. So obviously I'm becoming a little bit more healthy, mentally, spiritually, financially, and whatnot. Obviously making sure that I'm putting in that work. That they have an app called Deliveroo. You can order shit. Just what is it called in the States? You can do one in the States. You have food delivered to your door.
They got Uber
Eats, whatever that is. Right. Yeah, man, that thing will ruin you.
Yeah. In 24 hours, you can get food. Yeah.
Right. All day. And especially, you need living in London, everything's open.
If you don't have it in your mind, like you're going to be active and you're going to, at least monitor your calories, not per se restrict, but just know how much you're eating per day. You'll easily gain 5-10 pounds in a year without even thinking about it, especially when the holidays come around.
Well, yeah. On top of that, people think that they need how to lose weight is they try to starve themselves, and they end up having an eating disorder, or they are bulimic, right.
You lose the muscle because the body, because it thinks it's starving, it cannibalizes your muscle first. It doesn't tap into your fat until after your muscle's gone. So each pound of muscle burns a certain amount of calories per day. So when you starve yourself, you're killing your muscle mass, which is even making your metabolism go even slower. So you're slowing your metabolism down. So once you start eating normally again, it's going to store as body fat because your metabolism is even slower than when you started. So that's the worst way to lose weight. You want to lose fat. You don't want to lose muscle, So weight is not even a good word to say. When you talk about weight loss, you want to talk about body fat loss.
Right.
But you always want to keep your muscle mass up because that's what keeps your metabolism going. The more muscle mass you have, the more you can eat.
What is the most pervasive issue at the jump street of people coming to you to lose weight or get back in shape or go on tour, or whatever they do for a living? What is the most pervasive issue you see? Yeah. Okay.
It depends on the person, but I would probably probably say the most pervasive issue is a lot of people think that it shouldn't be relevant what their condition is, as opposed to executing their job. You know, a lot of the artists that I train, they're like, this is bullshit. I should just be able to sing no matter what kind of condition I'm in, because a lot of times it's not their idea to train, which makes it really super difficult to get them in shape. But you got to turn it. You got to turn it around. And once they realize it's for them, it's beneficial for them, then they end up doing it. But a lot of people, business people feel that way. I had a client of mine. She worked for a sports agency. And although she was high up, they didn't really accelerate her as quickly as she should. And maybe her participation in exercise was a factor, or not working out. Right. Because it was a workout culture as a sports agency. So a lot of times it's that initial resentment for people thinking that, why should I have to get in shape to work in my job? I find that prevails. It goes across genres and occupations, interestingly enough. So a lot of people have resentment. A lot of people have resentment towards spending money, investing in their own physical self.
They'll buy a new iPhone, though. They'll buy a new iPhone quick.
Yeah, because that's tangible. It's something physical. Right. They'll buy a car. They'll pay for a trip, but to invest in themselves that they can't see, it's difficult for a lot of people. A lot of people who have money, it's not even a money factor sometimes.
No, I think it's more of just a commitment level within their own mind on what success, what their future body, what it even is. I see a lot of times especially when you're dealing with celebrities or people that are high ups, or even in executives when it comes to business, they are masking their problems. Either it could be alcohol consumption, or it could be some types of drug or supplements and whatnot, or even like the nutrient side, taking a bunch of supplements and obviously trying to perform at a certain level, and they can't do that. It's not going to sustain. They can't get to an optimal level.
Yeah. It's, you got to look at it holistically. That's the whole thing. And I think that's the biggest key, is instead of looking at it fragmented from one specific area, you got to look at everything in the whole, man, Right. And that's the biggest thing with fitness, what we're trying to get with the Anabolic Mind.
Right. I can't wait for the show to come out, because
the show is going to be good. I'm lining up my guests. I'm pretty excited. I got some special surprises. Got some cool people going to be on. With some interesting insights. Because I want to give it to people from perspective of someone who's, successful and how they implement, or how they struggle to implement. Because it's a time thing too, and it's a lot of indulgence. People think that artists have the time. It's actually much more difficult because you're not structured as well.
Well, I mean, you can't get. It's hard to get in a routine. It's hard to get in a routine, especially when you're bouncing on your show
when you're
or going place to place.
Different state, So it's different challenges,
Right. Yeah, I can't wait for the show to come out. I mean, obviously, we'll pick a date and we'll talk about it in a little bit. Obviously, we're just coming out with it, and it's going to be amazing to see, I guess, how diverse, but then how easy it is to implement some of the information that they can implement pretty quickly in their lives to see a huge, like astronomical type of results within themselves. So I can't wait for that.
I mean, it doesn't take much, man. You can take what you're eating right now, the same amount, and if you just have it in 4 or 5 meals, you lose weight because it takes calories to digest each meal, as opposed to having it in 2 or 3 meals.
Right, that's important.
If you do that for a month, you will drop weight. So I didn't even change your diet. Now, if I change your diet and add that, you lose more weight. If I have you working out and you put muscle mass on, you lose even more weight. If you do some cardio on top of that, you lose even more body fat and put on muscle. And then the next time I do your body fat, you'll have more muscle on you. You'll be able to eat more food. So you actually want to be dieting up, accelerating your metabolism, as opposed to dieting down and cutting calories, because you get to a point where you cut until you have an eating disorder. It's not sustainable. So we want to look at stuff on the Anabolic Mind show that's sustainable for people, because all diets work because they're restrictive. But if you can't do it for the rest of your life,
that's a good point.
What's the point of doing it if you can't sustain it? So we're looking for stuff that's sustainable. We're going to get some doctors on there and some knowledgeable people as well, who can give different insights and different information on, what's hot in healing right now, like stem cells,
Yeah, that's big. People I've actually had in the States, good friends of mine, entrepreneurs, that flown to different countries to get stem cell, and it's changed everything for them.
Yeah, it's a game changer for guys like me, over 40, over 50 athletes who got some injuries. it's interesting. I got clients who've got stem cell stuff done, and like, I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Like, really came all the way back, like, can run again.
I've looked into it. I've already looked.
Again.
Yeah,
That's
I've already looked
amazing,
into it. Right. I've already looked into it. Just because of, it's like injuries and whatnot. I mean, it's not just the injuries, but it's more about the mental game as well, because your body doesn't respond the way that it normally would respond, especially if you're getting a little older and you're used to, doing diamonds and jump up and just clap it and shit. And you can't do it anymore because you torn your shoulder up. I mean, that makes it a little difficult. And then you get mad at yourself. People like us, I get mad at myself. I'm like, what is wrong with me? You know what I mean? Like, in that ego, right? Learn how to manage that ego. Right.
But even with these protocols, they have the stem cell therapy right now, and all kinds of other therapy. The building blocks of your body making that stuff, the collagen and the tissues, comes from the food, the nutrition, the nutrients that you're intaking. Right. It all starts back to, proper diet and supplementation, because those are the building blocks in which your body, and the older you get, you don't have the hormonal strength for your body just to produce that stuff without you actually taking in the nutrients. That's why getting collagen sources and essential fat sources in, it becomes so much more important as you age, because you don't have anything to build with hormonally. As you get older, your testosterone, your growth hormone levels are going down. So you want to keep those up based on your activity levels. You want your body to produce a certain amount of testosterone based on the amount of muscle mass you have. That's how it works.
One thing I want to make a point, and I don't know why it just triggered this. I did see this in the States, and I'm not sure if the lawsuit or whatnot went through. They would inject chicken breast with chickens, right? They would inject them with steroids to make them grow faster. And I think it was a study, I'm not sure, I think it was Harvard, did a study on this. And it was men are starting to have more man boobs, right?
Yeah.
And it's from that. And
the men are becoming estrogenic.
There it is. Okay.
Because of the foods.
Right. It's a different game. It's a different ball game.
The foods for men is estrogenic, and that in turn is causing a lot of ED, erectile dysfunction. But all of these things, and you got to understand how it works. All of these things cause you to buy prescription medication and pharmaceutical drugs. So, the pharmaceutical companies lobby.
100%, bro. I was just having this conversation the other day.
Understand how this game works? How you get used as a consumer, and your health is at stake. Because they like it. They can keep you alive now. It's just your quality of life. Anything that you have, they can keep you going. It's just how much are you going to pay for prescription drugs.
100%.
So for all you people out there who don't want to invest in yourselves, you got to invest anyway. It's going to be preventative, or it's going to be prescription.
Right.
But you're paying the money anyway. And you guys, that's the awareness that we want to get out to people.
I like that part of it, because I can go to, obviously not here, but go to Arby's and get 5 hamburgers for 5 Arby's roast beef sandwiches for $5. Well, me going to the supermarket and getting celery and getting veg and all that stuff, it's a lot more expensive. So that's why it's important. Also, I love that you mentioned that you want to definitely work on yourself as in a mental game and investing in yourself. It's a huge investment to that type of money on obviously operating at a certain level, but you have to start earning more to be able to put more back into your body.
You have to. And, people who are, that's a great point, Chris. People who are in the wellness space, we have to start doing commerce with each other to offset the expenses of living in the wellness space, because it is more expensive, because unhealthy food is cheaper. All of my meat is free range. All of my vegetables I eat is organic. I can tell you it's extremely expensive. But I have to, first of all, I have to have the knowing that that's going to help me live longer and give me a better opportunity and optimal to reach my goals, number one. And then number two, I have to know that eating the other stuff is toxic. It's not like you can break even just by eating the other stuff. The other stuff is going to get you sick. So by default, I'm not going to knowingly eat something. Or it's like if you're buying stuff that's not organic, the amount of nutrients, it takes 20 cups of spinach today to equal 1 cup of spinach from 1960.
That's crazy.
Nutrient wise, because of the farming, they're over farming the soil. The soil doesn't have nutrients. The chemicals they're using on the spinach itself. So if you're not eating organic, you're not even getting the nutrients you're supposed to be getting anyway from the
right,
from the fruits and vegetables. So then you have to get into smart supplementation because you can't get it.
Everything goes back to that pharmaceutical game, man. Everything just turns it steals right back to it.
Yeah. You gotta be aware, and your wellness right now, you can't leave at happenstance. There's a lot of anti-vaxxers. People don't believe in the vaccination. Okay, what vitamins are you taking to enhance your immune system?
There it is.
Are you
That's a good point.
Are you getting your body fat down? What else are you doing other than complaining about the vaccination?
Right. I was actually having a conversation He was like, with this guy, and he's in the States, and he drinks a lot, and I'm like, he doesn't want to get the vaccine. I'm like, bro, you're gonna die anyway.
But I'm not mad at you if you don't want to get the vaccination.
Well, yeah, but that's what you're pro-choice. Like, do what you want to do.
That's
right.
a personal decision. I'm saying, okay, if you're not gonna get the vaccination, are you gonna keep having an obese? Are you gonna have a pre-existing condition of being obese? Right. Are you gonna get your body fat down? Are you gonna take a vitamin every day? Are you gonna work out? Are you gonna take any type of preventive measures to get your immune system? Are you gonna eat kale every day? Are you gonna do something? Or are you just gonna act like the new variant is not real either? Right.
One thing I do with veg for myself, because I'm not a big veggie guy, but I'll do shakes.
Right.
And that's my way of getting around it. Because I can still remember myself as a kid sitting at the table and my mom like telling me, you're not going to leave this table to eat all your Brussels sprouts. And I'm like, and I'm so hard-headed. I would never let people. Yeah, traumatized. And then my dad would come up from work and get the belt. And I'm like, oh, got to eat them.
Veggies. Yeah. It's funny. I like Brussels sprouts.
I don't like them.
It's funny. A lot of the foods back then I didn't like. I like now.
Well, it's because we're old.
Yeah,
we're old now. Yeah, we're old now. Yeah, man, I appreciate coming on, obviously promoting your show, talking about the health and wellness, and obviously the Anabolic Mind show coming out soon. It's going to be phenomenal, man. And it's going to be a lot of different angles of opportunity, especially with, you mentioned with some of the physicians coming in, the doctors, and sprinkling in more of the scientific proof for those who need that type of proof on why it's important.
Getting different experts on, and we want to get people to speak a lot of different languages. I want to get people who speak so we can reach a diverse group of people. So we're going to get some doctors on there. I'll be able to break it down so people can understand it a little bit better. And I want to get some artists on there. I want to get some influencers on there, just talking about how they implement wellness into their lifestyle and what their plan is.
Right.
All you entrepreneurs out there, you got to have a health and wellness budget. It has to be part of your business plan. It can't even you can't even look at it as exercise. It has to be something that you do to be successful.
You got to budget everything,
like any other part of your business.
Right.
Like continuing education for any other part of your gig.
Right. You can't just have, all these different types of expenses. And the next thing you know, like, you have to see the instant return on investment for some of those entrepreneurs that need to see the impact. But we got to put also not just put money in financially, you have to put commitment in financially, you got to put commitment back into yourself. And that obviously starts with your mind. What you do when the lights are off or when you're off of work, you can pretty much self-sabotage yourself.
Yeah, you don't want to burn out, man. You want to make sure that you got it on your schedule. I'm taking wellness time out for myself. I'm taking time to see my family. I'm taking time to be with. That's all part of your wellness, not just exercising and eating right. You got spiritual wellness, you got mental wellness, you got physical wellness, you have financial wellness, you have occupational wellness, you have environmental wellness. You got all of these pillars that you need to be well as a person, to be happy about going to your job, to be enthusiastic about your entrepreneurial endeavors. You need a certain level of wellness in each one of those areas, and that's what we want to get into with the Anabolic Mind. And
it all goes back into having more confidence. I know when I'm in good shape mentally, spiritually, financially, all that stuff ties in the wellness side. Yeah. I'm going to walk into a meeting and I'm going to control it, and because it starts with my mind and how I feel about myself.
Exactly, and that's the biggest thing. I mean, physically, sometimes people look at it as a superficial thing, but your physical being is part of you, and you feel better when you're in better shape. You actually are better. You're moving faster. You're more flexible. Your blood circulating better. You're able to make better decisions. And, it's not such a superficial thing as if you think about you training your spirit, via your body. Look at it that way, guys. Right.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's all aspects of your life. It just compounds. I really love it, man. But anyways, guys, make sure you're following Mark Jenkins, the Mark Jenkins. I think it's on all the platforms, right? Correct? Then you have Mark
Mark
Jenkins.
on all the platforms. If you want to email me, shoot me an email, mark at markjenkinsfitness.com. You got any questions, holla at me. Let me know, guys. Got some cool challenges. Follow me on IG. Talk to you soon on the Anabolic Mind.
That's right. All right, hold up just a second. I'm going to hit this little outro, and we'll talk here in a second before we go. All right, guys. All right. Be well, you be great. 843-396-2104. You have any questions? He's part of WINJECT Studios community, so if you make sure, if you're not part of the community, content consumer, content creator, it doesn't matter. We're merging all together. Go to winject.com, join the community, and you'll hear a lot more in depth and even some behind-the-scenes stuff coming out soon that we can't really talk about exactly, but I got you. Don't worry. We got you covered. Stand by real quick, Mark. All right, guys. Be well. You be great. Peace. Get here tomorrow. You're welcome. You're welcome. 2 p.m. What is it? 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Russ Johns. He'll be covering a topic. I'm not sure exactly what he's going to talk about because obviously changed the game a little bit this week. But guys, go kill it, and I'll see you all at the Tiz Up. Peace.
Podcast is brought to you by WINJECT Studios. We are an all-in-one educational platform for podcasters that revolutionizes how hosts leverage content to increase engagement with listeners, downloads, and income. We come together to focus on community, collaboration, and collective impact. For more information on how you can interact directly with our hosts, access exclusive live content with offers you can't get anywhere else from our official partners, join our purpose-driven community by visiting www.winject.com. If you're ready to build a career doing what you love, then we're ready to see you there.